Really Useful Rosie. Written and told by Kiefer Adams. Rosie is a chirpy little pink tank engine who works on the island of Sodor and does what she can to be really useful. Some engines would consider Rosie a valuable member to the North Western Railway, but others, like Gordon, Henry or James, would think that Rosie was not strong enough to tackle the tougher jobs. Rosie was sitting patiently at Knapford Station when the Fat Controller came to see her. Gordon was nearby, waiting for Percy to bring him his coaches. "Rosie," the Fat Controller said, "I have 3 jobs for you today. The first one is quite easy. You must collect balloons from the factory and take them to Tidmouth Town Square for a special party in honour of the Mayor." "Yes, sir," said Rosie. "Your second job is going to Brendam Docks to collect a ship's boiler and take it to the foundry for repairs," the Fat Controller continued. "Yes, sir," said Rosie, starting to sound nervous. "And your final job is collecting a bridge section from the depot," concluded the Fat Controller. "A bridge on Edward's branch line is in need of repair. I would like you to take the section there for him." "Yes, sir," said Rosie nervously. "Wonderful," said the Fat Controller. "Don't let me down." He turned and walked away. "Delivering balloons will be a job you'll be capable of," Gordon said when he thought the Fat Controller was out of earshot. "But a boiler and a bridge section are impossible. You are just a small engine, little Rosie, and you will not be able to accomplish those jobs by the end of the day." Rosie pretended not to hear, but she puffed away rather nervously. Deep down, she wondered if Gordon was right. Before long, Rosie arrived at the balloon factory. 5 loaded trucks of green, blue, red, yellow and white balloons waited for her, all netted up so they wouldn't float away. "Well," she said to herself, "this looks easy enough." And it was. Rosie buffered up to the trucks and set off up the line to Tidmouth Town Hall. The Mayor and his guests were waiting, and they were quite happy that Rosie had delivered their balloons. "I wonder if it'll look lovely when I come back," Rosie said to herself. She was soon uncoupled from the trucks and set off for her next job, which of course was the ship's boiler. Rosie puffed into Brendam Docks feeling rather anxious. The first thing she saw was the ship's boiler, mounted on a flatbed. Arthur was close by. He had just made a delivery from the fishing village and was waiting for his trucks to be unloaded. "You can't handle this," Cranky scowled at Rosie. "This is something Arthur needs to take, not a silly little pink engine." Even Arthur was concerned. "Would you like me to go at the front of the train?" he offered. "No, I can do this," puffed Rosie, remembering what Gordon had said. Rosie was soon buffered up to the ship's boiler. Her wheels spun ferociously as she tried to get the flatbed in motion. "What did I tell you?" barked Cranky. "You can't move it an inch." "I don't mind helping you," suggested Arthur. "I can do it," hissed Rosie. And she did. All it took was one little bump, and Rosie soon got the ship's boiler in motion. Cranky's mouth dropped with bewilderment as Rosie puffed carefully out of the docks. "Go on, girl," shouted Arthur as he whistled for joy. Soon, Rosie had delivered the ship's boiler to the foundry. Her last job was all that she needed to face as she made her way to the depot. The bridge section for Edward's branch line was perched on 2 small conflats, chained up ready to go. Oliver was also there and was surprised when Rosie puffed in. "Good heavens," he exclaimed. "I thought someone like Thomas or Percy would come and move this." "The Fat Controller sent for me," said Rosie, trying to sound firm. Rosie then buffered up to the bridge section. She tried to move it, but it was almost impossible to budge. Oliver puffed forwards. "Would you like me to help?" "No, thank you," said Rosie. But all the same, when she tried again, she was almost close to giving up. "What's the point?" she groaned. "Gordon was right. I can't move this." "I think you can do it," Oliver encouraged. "I think you've got what it takes to be a strong, powerful engine like the rest of us." Oliver's words sunk into Rosie's smoke box. "Then I can do it," she puffed. She gave it another try, and with one final effort, she moved the flatbed out of the depot. "Go on, Rosie!" shouted Oliver, as Rosie puffed out of sight. Even Edward was surprised when Rosie finally brought the bridge section to his branch line. He was quite respectful and thanked her for bringing the bridge section to him in good time. Once her jobs were finished, Rosie was to report to Tidmouth Sheds. The Fat Controller was waiting for her, while Thomas, Gordon and Percy stood nearby. "Well done, Rosie," the Fat Controller congratulated. "I hear you did very well with your jobs today." "Thank you, sir," said Rosie. "Good on you, Rosie," said Percy. "I knew you could do it," chuffed Thomas. "And don't think I didn't hear what you said to Rosie this morning, Gordon," the Fat Controller quickly cut in. The other engines looked at Gordon, who had suddenly gone a deep shade of red and was looking at his buffers rather shamefully. "Rosie has proven to have the strength of any goods engine on this railway," the Fat Controller said. "Maybe an entire day of goods work tomorrow, Gordon, will make you realise that all engines on my railway have their own inner strength, no matter what size they are." "Hear, hear," Thomas chuckled. Rosie felt rather flattered. As Rosie talked about the day's work to Thomas and Percy, Gordon remained respectfully silent. Secretly, he had great respect for Rosie and now considered her to be a really useful and strong engine.